my channel, and today I'm going to have a little chat with you today about the basics for a store cupboard. What I've got in front of me now is what I consider to be at least some of the basics of a store cupboard. Don't be off put by it, please, because some of them you'll want, some of them you maybe don't want, but this is what I would consider the basics. So I'm going to go left to right. So starting with milk, it's a necessity and most people would have it in their store cupboard to start off with. So milk is a necessity. We've got eggs. You can make many meals out of eggs here at the front. You can make meals with them, you can bake with them, you can do all kinds with them. Enough said about eggs. Cheese. We all know about cheese. Cheese is a great one for everything. For a quick snack, you can eat it raw, you can eat it cooked, great. Butter as well, great. We all need it, we put it on our bread, we cook with it, grand. Flour. Now, plain flour can be used as a thickener, not just for baking with. So if you have it in your cupboard, it's a great standby item. Self-raising flour. If you've seen my videos, you'll know you can make some bread with it. Likewise, plain flour, you can make some bread with that. Especially if you've got a packet of yeast in, you can make bread with that. You can do all kinds with flour, and I'll be doing a few more videos later on in this series to actually show you what you can do with flour. Along here I have carrots, onions. I don't have any celery here, but I do have something called celery salt, which is very handy if you don't like celery but you need to add a bit of celery flavour in, which comes in handy when you're making soups, sauces, casseroles, etc., because it makes up something called mirepoix or something called sofrito. Now, sofrito the Italians call it, mirepoix is what the French call it, and it's basically just those three ingredients put together to do a basis for soups, sauces, casseroles, etc. It starts off all of those things. You just chop them all up, fry them a little bit until they all soften, and then add your rest of your ingredients. It's just a flavour thing. And once you know that, you can start off lots of soups, casseroles and sauces, and you will have an absolutely amazing soup, sauce, casserole, etc. So it doesn't matter what onion, what carrot, what celery you use, it can be any. But they're all cheap ingredients, but the flavour you get from them is amazing. So always have them in your cupboard and you can't go far wrong. And what you generally add to them is some form of stock. Now, I tend to use a lot of chicken stock, which is here. I prefer Knorr, but my husband for some reason has got me Oxo, I don't know why, but there you go. I also use a bit of beef occasionally and red wine stock cubes, but as long as you've got some form of stock in your household, you can make a soup, a sauce and a casserole, or even just bolognese or chili con carne, chicken casserole, whatever you're making needs a stock cube to add that bounce of flavour. It gives you that long cooked flavour that you don't get when you're making something quickly. If you want to cut down on time, you need a stock cube, so get your stock cubes in, everybody. I like to add herbs to my items, so I recommend you get some herbs in, and I always like to put a bit of thyme in everything. Time for time, that's what I say. Thyme is a great all-rounder. You may like a different one. I also like basil, but if you're going to add herbs, add the ones that you like. If you're not sure what you like, thyme is a good starter and basil is a good starter, because both of those will go in Italian food, both of those will go in English food, and they're great all-rounders, should we say. Onion salt. If you're making soups and sauces and what have you, or you want to make something quickly and haven't got an onion around, or you've run out of onions, onion salt is a great standby, so I always have that in my cupboard. Smoked paprika, great for adding to your roasts. Just sprinkle it over the top of your chicken, or sprinkle it over the top of your meat of any sort really, and it adds a boost of flavour. If you want to add a different dimension to your potatoes, sprinkle it on that. If you want to add to your chilies, sprinkle it on that. If you're not sure, just sprinkle it on whatever you want really. I love the flavour. It's got a deep smoky fiery flavour. It's lovely. It's not spicy, don't get me wrong, it's not. It's just purely as if it's been on the fire for a while. It's lovely. Potatoes, these are great things to have around. They make many meals, and not just mash, chips, fries, whatever you want to call them, boiled potatoes, roast potatoes. Check out next week's video, because that's going to be full of ideas for potatoes that aren't just those. We've got down here pasta. Along with rice, I think this is one of the staples of your store cupboard. You really need pasta in your store cupboard to throw together a meal. You just need to add a few ingredients. For instance, onions, carrots, celery, a stock cube, and a protein of some sort, chicken, whatever you want, and you've got a meal put together. All you need to do is add a little bit of cream or a little bit of cheese and you're laughing. Some tinned tomatoes and a little bit of garlic. There you go. Which reminds me, there is some garlic, garlic granules down here. If you haven't got any fresh garlic, which if you don't use a lot of garlic, it's a good idea to have garlic granules in. It gives you that flavour without having to have it fresh lying around. Or if you're like me, I use a lot of lazy garlic. If you watch my channel a lot, lazy garlic, you can have it in the fridge for ages. It's great stuff. Having it is some chopped tomatoes for some quick, easy meals. As I say, it goes well with pasta. You can always make a meal out of pasta and tomatoes. Add a few onions, a few carrots, some protein. You've got a meal going. Some tinned tuna added to all that would be a good protein. That's always good. Some chickpeas, always good to have in the house. If you don't like chickpeas, then a tin of cannellini beans or a bean of some sort is always good to have in the house. If you've got kids knocking around, beans, baked beans, always good. On toast with some cheese on top, good filler. Or if you want to zip it up a bit, you could add some smoked paprika to it and a bit of garlic. That's great, must say. For a quick pudding, you could make peach crumble. If you've got a tin of peaches in the house, that's absolutely stunning, I have to say. Really nice. Always have some condiments on hand, so tomato sauce and mayonnaise. You can also make an absolutely stunning sauce by adding the two together, or you can make great sort of dips out of mayonnaise and put a bit of yoghurt in there with it. I always have 0% yoghurt in my house so that I can add that, half and half of each. Equal quantities of mayonnaise and 0% yoghurt with a bit of feta cheese in there makes a lovely dip. And you can add to that some chive or spring onion, or if you haven't got those, you can add some dried basil. That makes a nice dip, and a little bit of cider vinegar makes a lovely dip. You can also need some oil in the house. Now this oil, rapeseed oil, it doesn't have a good press, I've got to be honest. However, it is good for high temperatures, and it's also good for salad dressings as well, which is why it's in my house. So you can use it at the top end and the bottom end, which you can't do with olive oil or extra virgin olive oil. It's not great for top and bottom end, where this is. So when you're looking for an oil, if you're stuck for money, look for one that'll do the top end and the bottom end of the scale, and it will help on the budget, so watch for that. And one that I haven't got out, I forgot to get it out actually, is rice. Have that one going in your house as well. One that I haven't mentioned here is sugar. you need sugar in your house. Either or, both, either. You need sugar in the house to make baked goods. If you've got butter in your house, doesn't matter which butter it is, whether it's margarine or butter, it's always good to have butter in the house so that you can make sweet treats. If you make sweet treats for your children, it cuts back on those costly sweets that you get at the shops, which cost an absolute fortune. I went to the shop the other day and it was 95p for a sweet. For heaven's sake, you can make a pile of cookies for less than that. So please, you know, buy the sugar. Yes, it's an absolute stretch to start off with, but once you've got them in, it's so much cheaper. Okay, if there's anything you think that I've missed, comment below. Here's what I think you should watch next. Other than that, Liz out.